Today, we're plunging into one of those really enduring dilemmas in modern marketing and communication. It's that tension, between repetition and depth. We've been looking at this really insightful piece, Repetition or Depth, Marketing's Enduring Dilemma. And our mission here really is to pull out the key takeaways from this deep dive. We want to help you understand which approach truly wins out and honestly, why it matters so much when we're all just swimming in noise. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Some messages just echo and echo until, well, they almost feel like our own thoughts. While other times, really profound stuff, deeper content, it just sinks, doesn't make a ripple. So what's actually going on there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the material we looked at, it frames this as not just like a simple strategic choice for marketers. It actually calls it a deep cultural and cognitive paradox. Think with Settlor as the source digging into this. They're looking at it through behavioral science, even philosophy, asking that core question, which way wins? And maybe more importantly, what's the cost?
Okay, and this is where I found it gets really interesting. The actual science behind why repetition is, well, just so incredibly potent. Can you break that down? What's happening in our brains?
Well, it taps into something really fundamental. We're just drawn to what's familiar. There's this principle in psychology, the mere exposure effect. It's pretty well established. Basically, the more times we see or hear something, could be anything, a phrase, a logo, an idea, the more we tend to, well, like it, trust it, remember it, often without much effort.
Yeah.
For marketers, this is just theory, it's gold. And the practical reasons are quite clear too. Repetitive stuff. It demands less thinking from us, the audience. Our brains kind of like the easy route, and familiarity feels comfortable, safe. Plus, let's face it, in this world of, short attention spans and constant scrolling, repetition is just built for that kind of fragmented consumption. Quick hits.
That really resonates. You see it constantly, don't you? Those jingles from like decades ago, you still can't shake. Or a brand's visual identity boom. You see the colors, you instantly know who it is, maybe even trust them a bit more. Even content strategy, right? The same messages, maybe tweaked slightly over and over. The source definitely highlighted how repetition leads to recognition, and then often recognition just sort of slides into belief. Which leads to the big question. Okay, repetition wins the race for visibility, but is visibility the same as impact?
Exactly, that's the pivot. Deep content, it plays a completely different game. It's not aiming for that quick recall. It wants to be understood, digested slowly, maybe integrated over time. It's trying to engage your reflective mind, challenge your assumptions, perhaps even change how you see things. And it's a big but, it asks for more from the audience. Your time, your focus, sometimes even like emotional vulnerability. And the challenges are obvious, right? It's way harder to measure depth's immediate impact. You can't easily track its virality. It's probably not going to rack up millions of views overnight. But the source argues its long-term power is where it shines. It talks about depth planting seeds that change behavior, values, and identity over time. It draws this really sharp line. Repetition seeks reach, depth seeks resonance. Repetition lives on trends. Depth tries to survive on truth.
Okay, so we're standing here looking at the viral versus the vital. What does this all mean then? Who actually wins this thing?
Well, in the short run, it's pretty clear. Repetition often dominates. It scales. It's efficient. It floods the zone. You see businesses build huge platforms on content that's, let's be honest, predictable, snackable, endlessly copied. And the algorithms, they tend to favor frequency. What shows up often gets pushed more often. It's a cycle. But if you look longer term, that's where depth built its legacy. Think about the ideas or brands or even people that have really lasted, that truly shaped things. Were they always the loudest? Not necessarily. They were often the most meaningful. They built trust through substance, not just slogans. So the source concludes, the winner really depends on what game you're actually trying to play. Want quick attention? Repetition's your tool. Want transformation? You got to invest in depth. And there's this piece of wisdom in there that really stuck with me. The wisest marketing blends both, but never forgets which one built culture and which just decorates it.
Wow, decorates it. That's quite a line. That brings us to the strategy side for everyone listening, right? Whether you're consuming this stuff or creating it, is it really quantity versus quality? Pick one. Or is there like a middle path?
Yeah, Think with Settlor frames it less as an either thing and more as a call for alignment.
It pushes us to ask some tough questions, like, are we repeating just because it's easy, or is it genuinely strategic? And on the other side, are we avoiding depth because it feels too hard, or because we just assume people won't care, won't engage? And this one really hits home. Are we building a moment or a movement? That distinction feels crucial, and it leads to their point. Repetition earns a seat at the table. depth earns the right to stay there.
That's powerful. A seat at the table versus the right to stay. Okay, and this leads into what the source calls the future belongs to the hybrid. Exactly. The idea is that the most respected voices, the brands that will really matter tomorrow, they won't choose. They'll figure out how to synchronize them. How to use those viral tactics, the repetition, not to water down the meaning, but actually to amplify it. It's about creating things that manage to both echo and elevate. Finding that sweet spot where message is catchy, memorable, and genuinely meaningful. It's tough, but that seems to be the goal.
Echoes and elevates. Definitely a lot to think about there. So as you go through your day, seeing ads, reading articles, scrolling feeds, maybe pause and consider this. Think about that tension between what just repeats and what actually resonates with you, what sticks in a deeper way.
Because, yeah, the final thought from the source is pretty potent. It's something to reflect on. Because in the end, what repeats may win the battle, but what transforms will win the war.